But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
It's Will from Libra. Today is Saturday, July 4th, and here's your weekend market update. Details of the $5 million Bitstamp hack last January have leaked online. As it turns out, several employees at Bitstamp, including the CEO, were targeted via Skype and email, where they were tricked into downloading documents that had malware implanted in. The Greece crisis is coming to a head as Monday, Greece is estimating that it will run out of money. There is a referendum on Sunday which will determine whether or not the Greek citizens want to go with or reject the latest proposal from the Eurozone ministers. Currently, the government has stockpiled food and energy to last this. However, the banks themselves are down to less than 500 million in cash reserves, that being euros. So it will be critical to see what happens in the coming days, the referendums tomorrow, and what happens in terms of their ability to continue operating at a functional level after they've run out of money. Continuing with some additional Greece news, NBC News is talking about how some Greeks have been using Bitcoin to evade currency controls. In the past couple weeks, we've seen online payments, also payment platforms like PayPal, shut down completely in the country. NBC News has interviewed BTC Greece, the only Greece-based Bitcoin exchange, and they said that they're averaging deposits of around 700 euros, and that between May and June, their number of customers has grown 400%. CBS Market Watch has released an article talking about how the technology behind Bitcoin is being used in surprising ways. Namely, they've been highlighting how the Bitcoin protocol itself has yielded some great strides forward in the areas of international payments. Also, they talk about crypto bonds and, in general, with cryptography. They touch lightly on smart contracts and in general talk about how Bitcoin technology itself is being very disruptive in terms of replacing technologies that have been in use for decades that are antiquated. itBit, New York's first licensed Bitcoin exchange, released its analysis earlier this week, highlighting how heading into this past week was the third straight winning week for the Bitcoin market. Today being Saturday, we can easily tell that now we've actually hit a fourth straight week of winning for Bitcoin. A couple other things to note, just in terms of the past week and the month in general, we continue to see an increase in price month to date of approximately 12% and a market capitalization month to date of almost 14%. Let's take a look at the chart and see what we're observing this weekend. First, let's take a look back at the 20th, just a couple weeks ago. We were observing a downward trend for Bitcoin that was heading and testing 240. We bounced off that as we were in a channel between 240 and 250. We lost steam only about midway through that channel and retested 240 again. Then that's right when Greece news started coming out. This was the first slide of it on the 22nd that pushed us up close to 250. That's when rumors of a potential default started coming out. Then it started sounding like there might be actually a deal on the table. This quickly caused us to lose steam, and we can see just in the span of the 23rd to just about 36 hours later, we were already down to testing 240 again. That was 248 all the way down to 240. After that point, we began to tick back up slightly, but with very much less momentum. And that's where we left off during our last update, how there were lots of signals pushing us below 240. We saw a couple double tops, we saw a head and shoulders pattern, both of which became violated and were indicating selling pressure heading down to 240. Also, you'll note that we have talked quite a bit about Greece volatility right on the 27th, not just about a week ago. That's when it came out that Greece would definitely not be making its payment to the Eurozone. Ever since then, we have been in a strong upward pattern right off of 240. We passed right through 260 and even came close to 270. Since then, we've been in quite a bit of limbo. You'll notice that head and shoulders pattern right around the 30th, heading into July 1st. Since then, we've passed back down under 260, and it appears that we are somewhat again in a channel now. This one between 260 and potentially around a 250 level. Just keep that in mind if you're trading this weekend. Again, we're looking at around 260 as being the resistance point that we've seen in the last 2 days. Going back to right around July 1st, we saw where we passed through that. However, we haven't seen that since. If we go and kind of zoom out a little bit here, we can see that 250 is going to be quite a bit lower from where we're at right now, right around 258. So just know that there's not much floor under 258, depending on what happens here in the next 24 hours. So that said, good luck, happy trading, to the moon.